Gene, if you need help, just ask Amanda.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. We always do.
Yeah.
Good morning, all.
Thank you.
Welcome to the joint tourism and OCTAX meeting. Didn't plan on so many people, otherwise we would have moved to the big room, but we'll make it today. I'm Gene Merlino, I'm supervisor of OCTAX and tourism. First thing I'd like to, Mr. Bean, supervisor of Johnsburg. He's our new member. Everybody else is the same as we had in the past couple of years.
We
Okay.
got a new member. Strainer.
Oh, I forgot about Supervisor Strain. How can I forget? How can I forget you, sir?
Kind of dumb.
All right. I get confused here a little bit, so bear with me. All right, so we're gonna open the committee meeting. I'm calling it to order. I need a motion to approve the minutes of November 29th tax meeting. Mr. Gerasi, Ms. Runyon. I always have a stutter on that name. So, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we passed, we moved that on. All right, it's privilege to the floor. Now, Heather, which are we starting with? Top tax first or two?
This is just public.
What?
There's privilege to the floor.
Or both?
So
Okay,
anybody who is on the agenda, if you can hold your comments, if there's somebody here that wants to speak that is not on the agenda, that's part of the public.
so anybody like to make any comments before we move forward?
I know that's not an okay.
Seeing none, we'll move forward. And we'll get into our agenda. Heather, you want to take over on that?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. There is a list of applicants that have put forth their applications for events that we're going to go through. And so without further ado, there's a couple of these that first one on the list, many of you will see the Battle of the Barn Axe Throwing Fall Festival. That has actually been canceled for this year, so it will not be asking for funds this year, so we can move that one along. Anyone here from the Silver Bay YMCA?
I am.
If you wouldn't mind, give us a quick overview, that would be very helpful, and considering the abundance of persons, if you can limit it, I would greatly appreciate it.
Sure. So I'm Uriah, I'm from the Silver Bay YMCA. We are requesting 15,000 for the Bluegrass and Heaven Festival. This would be our second year operating it. The second year, we're hoping to get occupancy tax funds to operate it. It was wildly successful last year. We had a great event, lots of visitors locally and lots of visitors from out of town. We're expecting to increase the number of participants this year to 400. Our tickets have already gone on sale for the event, and we've already sold about 50 tickets for the event so far.
I do have a question.
Sure, ma'am.
Last year, how many room nights did you have outside of the YMCA?
102.
So you use 102 room nights outside of your property, okay. That's my question. Anyone else?
Anybody else have any questions?
Okay, so looking at the award for this, these are the things that we look at in awarding. And I'm just going to go over this, and I apologize. I printed it and left it downstairs, so Paul was so kind to grab it. Currently, we have $349,000 in special event funding, $50,000 in a municipality application funding. So the applications that we received to date exceed the amount of money that we have to give out right now. So with that, we had to look at different dollar allocations for the majority of the applications. And that you will see that within the applications that were submitted. In being consistent with what our chairman has been saying, we need to be considerate of how we allocate these dollars going forward. Some of the ways we looked at allocating these dollars is looking at the number of days, the number of overnights, the number of days that the event takes place, the number of overnights that it incurs or showcases, budget specifically to revenue. as well as dollars spent on marketing. Those are two key areas that we're looking at within your budget. We're also looking at the number of years that you were in events. Way back when this program was developed to assist and bring events here. And there are a lot of success stories specifically in this room to showcase that we've leveraged the funds in an appropriate manner to get events off the road and get them running to a successful, even a more profitable highway, which is great. And success of this program shows that that has happened. Also looking at any reoccurring events, how successful you were, your budgets, your reporting, and things like that. So I apologize. I wanted to say that before you started, but didn't want to slow up the meeting. So with that, looking at the application of Silver Bay YMCA, my recommendation to the board after reviewing this, when I go back in the notes, there was a looking at this program for 3 years. There's also some of the stuff that identify you identify in your budget last year of 6,500 for marketing, but you've spent less than 1,000 on marketing for the budget. We would love to have our logo a little bit more prominent in your events. We didn't see a lot of places where you did share it, and part of our support should be about also promoting us so that we can encourage your visitors to come back to our other areas. And then looking at the 400 participants and the time of season, we're looking at the award of 7,500, which is half of the request. So that is what I'm putting forward to the board.
Do you have
to
any
the committee.
comments on that?
I would just like to add that I started June of last year. And so I sort of took over this project maybe just a few months before it was set to go. And so I was reminded by the marketing portion sort of after I had an opportunity to make any adjustments. I'm well aware of those marketing things, and we made sure that this year we'd already put them into play. One of the great things about it is that, it was successful for us last year. And so we are able to sort of move forward even with the reduction in the amount.
Thank you.
That's appreciated. We're trying, and next year now, if you come back again, we take that all into consideration. We're just trying to get either, pretty much like a 10% break or something. But you didn't use that, you didn't advertise a lot with the money, so that's why there's a side of our little committee did that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, I need a motion to, hold on, Mr. Wild?
Question,
Yes.
Chairman, as I'm looking at page 11 on the document today, I'm not sure if I understand it totally, but it looks like that their total costs are 57,800 plus. And their anticipated revenue is 77,000. So I'm curious, is the YMCA making money on this?
Last year, the first season that we operated, it was intended that the program would ultimately start to run itself, that the occupancy tax over the course of 3 years would support us starting it up and then through some of the transition. Our first year was successful enough. It covered the bulk of the cost that we requested from the occupancy tax. We made more than we would have.
I have my paperwork. We gave 0 last year,
No, we gave a
We
15.
gave 15 last year.
15 last year. What's the cost this year?
The
Well-
15 is the request this year. My recommendation is 7,500.
Because they were able to handle their own expenses.
Thank you.
All right. All right, back to the board. Any other questions from the committee? Or any other recommendations? All in favor? What? Oh, I'm sorry. I need a motion, Mr. Rossi, Mr. Stroud. All in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? All right, the first one's passed.
Okay, the next one on the list is Lake George Steamboat Company. We're still waiting. Last time we met, we had asked them to go to the municipality because it was a one-day event. So we're waiting for the follow-up on that. Moving on to Improv Records. We have 3 applications for them. He unfortunately is out, so he's not able to be here. But usually we would give them the option of coming back at a later time. Due to the dates of some of these events and needing to know the funding of it, we are okay to move forward with that. But if there are any questions that we need answered, we will have to hold on to it. So the first one is the Memorial Meltdown. As I said earlier, this is one of our success stories. We have supported it for many, many years. May I borrow that? Thank you. Originally, we started supporting this event, thank you, back in 2022. And it has been very successful. Right now, they show a profit of 24,000 on their application. One of the things I would make a recommendation to them is I see that they don't do any sponsorship, or at least don't showcase it in the revenue. That might be a great opportunity for them. With great businesses specifically in this room, that would want to benefit from the eyeballs that are in front of his events. Part of also this, will need them to complete our application outlining the budget, because it is part of the requirement of what you have to submit when you're done with the event. So with that, we have looked at awarding 50% of their ask. Their ask was 40,000. We are looking at awarding a 20,000.
We at the memorial.
We're at the Memorial Meltdown, yes. You'll see a little bit of a difference in there.
So the
Memorial.
amount suggested 35,000.
Yes, so we adjusted it a little bit in the pieces here because two things. The Independence Music Festival, we're gonna award a little more. It is in an anniversary year. And therefore, it should get a little bit of more funding, but again, these are recommendations. If you feel it should get more, I am all for it.
Some of the reason is so we give them all the information. We started funding this at 20,000. Following year, we funded it at 35,000, and now they're asking for 40. And you know, the feeling that we've had in the last 6 or 8 months, each time they go out more and more, we're trying to curtail it and keep it under control. So, I think we got this one to 35, right? What did you change it? again?
20.
20?
Wow.
All right.
So
I'm confused because I've got 35.
You do have 35. So there's 3 events that this gentleman runs.
Yeah, I see that.
And so after reviewing it this morning and recognizing 2 things, number one, this is a profit event. So he's making money on this event. And then on the other event, and we'll get to that, the Independence, it's an anniversary year, as well as he's losing money there. So
Got it.
we're kind of toddling between the 2. So I apologize for that, but after reviewing it again this morning, it just made more sense of a funding perspective. The deed is more on the latter.
Got it.
But again, these are recommendations. The committee gets to have the final choice.
Where does he hold this?
These are all at the common,
Commons?
yes.
And where does he get his room nights from? Just 2,000 plus.
He does multiple surveys that he does as well as he works with some of the local lodging facilities to house some of his
And he's for profit?
he is.
How much? What is he doing with the bed tax money?
He usually it's for the artists and or for marketing.
So
And
is
those are both eligible expenses for the artists.
is Dave Emmon here to speak?
He is not, unfortunately, he's sick.
Super now?
Even.
Even. No. Is there anybody here to speak to this proposal and the counter?
They are
proposal?
not. What we could do is ask for him to come at the February. It'll be tight for his event, but if that's what we have to do, we can make that happen. It'll be, he'll come to the committee in February and award it in March, should he get the award. Would you both prefer that?
Anybody else on the committee looking to do that or hold off until?
It is a couple months before his first event. It is almost 2 months before his first event. So it's not out of the ordinary. If the committee
I
feels
think it
more
makes
comfortable-
sense to at least hear from the individual proposing it that we're making a substantial cut in his request from 40 to 20. I just
Yeah.
want to be reassured that we're not going to hinder the integrity of the event because it is a successful event.
You're right. Fair enough. Yeah.
Would you like to, I mean, we were trying to keep it the same. All right, so he's asking for 40. Last year you got 35. Would you feel more comfortable if we stick with 35? This way we don't hinder the whole operation of that performance and it meets this, what we're trying to do.
I think that's fair.
How about anybody else feeling?
Well, this is
that way?
just for the one event, right? He's got two more
Yeah,
coming.
he's got two more coming. This one's the most important because it comes up earlier. The other two can wait till February if the board, this committee feels. So, all right. Mr. Wall, I think you saw your hand.
Thanks again. It's basically the same question as last time. As I look at this, this is generating a profit,
Mhm.
right? And sometimes we ask that the event reimburse us for the occupancy tax if they're making a significant profit.
Mhm.
Right? It helps us do more with our occupancy tax going forward. So I'm just curious what the committee, us, that is essentially padding their profit. Now, again, it does support their marketing and they're moving forward with the project so that they can make this actually happen. But where do we call, and when do we get to the point where we say, we're doing too much? Right? It's just a philosophical question for the committee. When do we know we're doing?
That was the reason why we went this way is now to stay what he had last year, not give him more. 5,000 more. I mean, and Heather had spoken about it a little earlier, to only go down to 20. I feel that's a lot to go down. So it's in the realm of what I'm feeling, either you stay the same or you knock off 10%. That's what we've been trying to do. We started this about 6 months ago. So if we give him the third, excuse me, I lost my place here. Give him, go back to the 35 that he did last year. He's meeting what I feel is comfortable, not giving him the other 5. So that's just my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll have more questions.
Because we haven't really, that's something what you just brought up was talked about, but we never really got into these big events giving back unless they were,
Respectfully, I'll ask the committee to see if they can start developing some.
we
kind of
can think
strategy.
about something like that.
When do we apply some type of give back, right, to help make this happen?
Actually, the first
Obviously,
one we did
want
that
tourism,
was
want this stuff.
the big event at the Fort William Henry.
Right.
They got large amount of opt tax, but they're gonna turn most of it, I hope. We have faith in the project for 3 years, so. But this is individual, we're going one by one here, so
I understand.
I think if the board is comfortable, we'd leave it with 35 and not give them the extra 5. Mr. Stroud, how do you feel about that?
Well, you're talking a profit of 24,000. That, I mean, you know, an event should be making a profit. And it's not exorbitant, but, you know, capitalism, incentive to make things happen, that's, you expect to make a profit. I don't think this is $24,436 is outrageous. I think it's appropriate, but I understand Mike's position too. But I'm still comfortable with 35, if that's what the committee's will is.
We're just holding it to what it was last year. That's, so if that 5,000 would give them more profit, then we're not working on that. And I agree, when it's for profit, this was always way back, if you read the rules, it was only supposed to fund so far, and then once it become, profitable, we don't fund it anymore, but it hasn't been kept that way in all these years, and we're trying to slowly get it back to something like that, so.
Okay.
Right.
It also says here that the proceeds from this event benefits the Boy Scouts can drive, and I know how important that is. Boy Scouts make quite a bit off of their can drive. And it also says if it breaks 500,000, they'll do a $20,000 scholarship. I think it's Lake George High School. I think that's what that means.
Yes.
So they do good things with their money.
Philanthropy.
But that's something that I think we agree, those people should come to us and we can give them the donation.
Oh, you mean individually?
Right, you know, to ask for it from now, we don't know if it really goes where it has to go. Not that I'm saying anything's wrong, but we're just trying to change the system a little bit. It's gonna take a few years, but we'll get it under growth. So right now, do I have a resolution for 35 and a second? Any other question from the board?
Do we not have a-
Oh, I don't have a second, I'm sorry. I don't have,
You never
Oh.
first.
I thought all right, we're making a motion to do 35. I'm sorry, Mr. Stroud. Mr. Gerasi is second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Pass.
Thank you all very much. We will move the other two, the yoga Independence Music Festival, to the next meeting. Moving on, Sasha, I think I saw you in here for the Adirondack Wine and Food Festival.
Hi, everybody. I'm just gonna have Brad your hand out on the slide. I'm Sasha Party. I am the owner of the Adirondack Wine and Food Festival. And our request is for 50,000. Last year, we were awarded 45, the year before that, 40. Our event is June 29th to 30th this year. It's always the last weekend of June, the kickoff to the summer. It was voted the best annual event on LakeGeorge.com last year, so we're quite proud of that. We bring, our goal this year is 140 vendors to Festival Commons. And it's primarily wineries, but also distilleries, breweries, cideries, artisan food vendors, food trucks. Last year, we added a rental of Westbrook Road to the property for both days. And we created the food truck alley for the first time. That was received very well. And our vendors would like us to do that again. That allowed us to alleviate some line issues that we were having, because if any of you have seen, it's wrapped up to the Fort William Henry before to get into our event, so we try to improve that, which worked. And it allows us obviously to add more vendors. And we also created a public component by adding that, so we're going to be doing it again. This event does benefit the Brothers and Sisters of the Southern Adirondacks. It's one of their largest fundraisers each year. We've raised about 58,000 for them since we started to work with them in 2018. And a lot of the money that they make is actually occurs at the festival through raffle baskets, water sales, and different activities. Our record year of attendance was 6,837 attendees. So we are aiming towards that again. We've already started to sell tickets and we are on par with that year, which is 2022. And room nights and economic impact. We do conduct quite an extensive survey that has become a model for others in the community. Post-festival that tells us where people are staying, how many nights that they're staying, how much they're spending when they're in the area. So our record room nights has been 10,100 and our record economic impact has been about 4.1 million. So we are going for that again, hopefully to exceed that. We have had all sorts of weather. Last year was a really rough year. I will say that, challenges that are presented is costs keep going up. I'm sure nobody's surprised to hear that, especially on the, human resources side and supply side. And then the other challenge is honestly sponsorship. Heather said, we do work really hard to garner sponsorships, but especially being like a small business owner in this area, and I know how much people come to me and ask me for money for everything. It's been a really, really rough year. So I don't know when that's going to let up. I'm hoping that the Lake George summer is in a better position this summer, because boy, it was a really rough year, and I hope to never experience that again. But we, the foot traffic that we saw at our Lake George tasting room, we saw the same thing at the festival, and I know I'm not the only one. And then of course we have our Queensbury location, and we did see, similar effects. People are spending a lot less money, and we saw that in their spending survey for 2023. So it's a challenge, and we need to continue to have these events. And I guess I would say, because we are for profit, I would not do this if I didn't make a profit. So I look at my dear friend Jessica here, who runs the Winter Carnival. And she has her own business that is completely unrelated. And I think she's a saint. I don't know how she can do this every day, and knowing what it takes to put on something like this. But I definitely would not be doing this event if I didn't make a profit. So you will notice a profit in our paperwork. But if anybody have any questions, I did give you a handout just to kind of review the basics.
Is the 50,000 that you're requesting here part of your revenue on the sheet?
I don't believe so. I don't think so. Yeah, so when we turn in our paperwork, we always make sure that it's attributed to mostly marketing. And, you know, the fact of the matter is, if our budget is cut, we just won't do as much marketing, which then means less attendance, and then it means less profit, and
But
It's
that would
just how it
boost your
works.
profit up to 188.
what's that?
That would boost your profit up to 188 if you put the 50,000.
That was last year. Or no, you're looking at this year's proposal.
2024
Yes, this
proposal.
year's proposal, yeah, which would be more in line with the prior year. Last year was a really tough year. It takes a lot to put on this event. and We have to obviously put some of it back into the upcoming year. Once the festival ends, we go right into the next year.
Well, the only question I would have is, you've gone up from 40 to 45, now to 50.
Yeah, every
Would
year
you
we
consider
request it.
staying at 45 this year?
What was that?
Would you consider it staying at 45 this year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've requested 50,000 for the past 3 years.
No. All right. How does the board feel about that? Because she's asking for 50, but the whole idea of what we're trying to do is keep it flat. And if she stays at the same as last year, she should be able to. Mr. Drossy makes a motion, all right? And, what else do we have here? Anybody else? I need a second.
I did.
Oh, Ms. Runyon, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Any other questions?
I was up there again, didn't
All in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Opposed? Passed. We'll
Thank
do
you
that.
very much.
Thank you.
And next on our list. Johnson. If you will, thank you.
My partner in crime is not here. So, I'm Jessica from the Lynchburg Winter Carnival. We have our event that runs every February for each weekend in February, Saturday and Sunday. So we're looking at 8 days of fun outside. We also kick off our event with our gala, our fundraising gala, which helps us to generate, because we're requesting $50,000. We are in need of funding to ensure that our insurances are covered. A lot of our events that historically we run, and I think all of you know, that they're outside of the box for sure. So trying to get insurance just for those events in itself. But many of the other factors come in that we're all volunteer. So this is not a paid thing. I've grown up with the Winter Carnival. It's been in my blood. That's what it is. It's why I'm doing it. My family does it. But it's really hard to find those volunteers. And we found that we've needed to turn a lot of what we're doing into being more resourceful and really turning to social media. So our expenses, of course, every year they're driven. We're trying to keep this event a hometown event. I don't want to see my vision for this event change. I think everyone that's ever talked with me, they've heard that from me. It's got to remain wholesome, but we need to bring it to a level that is doable with today's society and technology and everything else. So we are asking for 50,000, and that's what we're.
All right, well, we looking at the chart here. You asked for 50 2 years ago, 50 last year, and 50 right now is what we're looking for to stay flat. And I think we can, Mr. Stroud,
Yeah, thank you for all you do, Jessica.
yeah, you do a great job and the money's well spent.
What's plan B with no ice?
So we don't depend on Mother Nature. That's our new motto. We tell everyone we are a non-ice dependent event. We are actually, one other thing I want to add to all of this is just with our motivation to bring to the communities on the weekends in February. We're also striving better as a winter carnival to help with the 365 initiative. I just want to put that out there. And we are pushing for like new events. So the February break week, the winter carnival, because of the ice, we don't know, we never know. So we want to create a presence that people want to come either way, whether we have ice or not. And then with our wonderful other events that we have going on, we want to support those too. So collaboration is key. During the week of February break, we have some pop-up events that we're going to be doing, just fun around town events. We're bringing comedy shows to Lake George on 2 Friday nights, so we're excited about that, something different. We have the bowling alley teaming up with us to do some week-long events. Families are here, they want to do stuff, we want to keep them here. I know that Warren County is a big area, but we don't want them to go to other counties, so we're really trying to keep them here. So we're stepping up our presence for February, but also we're tapping into the year-round aspects of things now. And we were blessed yesterday at the meeting in Lake George to have an approval for a softball tournament that we're going to be running as part of Chesapeake's vision, which is the youth component of the Lake George Winter Carnival. And we're looking to bring people from out of state to that too. Again, all run by the Winter Carnival. Volunteered, no payment. But that's what we're looking to do. We just want to keep creating this to be what it is.
Anybody want to make a motion to go ahead? Mr. Straw, you want to go ahead with the 50?
Yep.
And then we get a second. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Can't see
everything.
your hand.
Thank you,
Just run
everybody.
and second it. Good. I'm sorry. I don't see your hand. Big guy's in your way over here.
I had my hand up.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank you very much for all your work and
Thank you.
well spent money.
Next on our list is Laura.
My name is Alyssa O'Neill, and I am with the Lower Adirondack Regional Arts Council. And we are requesting support for our 53rd annual June Arts Festival, which is happening in Huntsville City Park on June 8th and 9th of this year. This is LARAC's largest fundraiser for the year, where we involve 150 artists from around the country, give or take, depending on the year, as well as numerous live musicians, food trucks, as well as some other nonprofits in the area that would like some presence during our festival. So we are requesting support for marketing efforts for this festival to increase our reach in the southern part of the state, Vermont, and the western part of New York as well, which is a much larger area than we have been able to reach in the past.
All right, you're requesting 13. You had 11 last year. I think it's a great thing and it's good to keep something in Glens Falls. So that Glens Falls people don't get mad at us, but it's a good program. I went last year. So we're recommending the 13. So what, can I get a motion on that? Mr. Strainer
No Glens Falls people on the committee.
and Mr. Rossi. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed.
Thank you for your support. Thank you. Albany Rods and Customs for the Adirondack National Car Show.
So, my name is Erin. I'm with the Adirondack National Car Show. We are requesting $50,000. We are working on extending this to a 4-day event this year. We do bring in over 10,000 spectators. We have over 1,500 pre-registered vehicles. We do try to keep this as a family event. We are a 40-member volunteer car club, so we get no payment either. We do a lot of work to get this car show going. So that is our request.
You want to talk on this one?
I can talk. You've got it. So this is a multi-day event. During this time of the event, there is a 3-day night room request from majority, if not all of our lodging facilities. We've been supporting this event since 2013. Let's see, they do a great job in including us in your advertising, so thank you very, very much. That helps us. And again, this is a multi-year, event for us. We have down 30,000, but I'm open to others. Looking at our budget right now, we have $198,500 remaining in the $500,000 line for the year.
But that was a large jump from 25 to 35 to 50. If we come up with something like 40, would it help us out and help you guys continue a good program?
Absolutely.
All right? Any other suggestions? I need a motion. Mr. Strainer? Need a second? Okay, Mr. Ross?
You're just set around 40. These ones are not paying attention.
Thank you.
Any other question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. All right.
Okay, next on our list is the Northeast District Barbershop Harmony Society. We have a Robert Bradley.
He's from out of the area.
Okay, so we will push him over to the next meeting. If you want to talk about the Adirondack Holiday Festival first, that would be great, Cam. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Unless you want to do
I'm
them.
Cam Cardelli. I'm on the board of the Glens Falls Collaborative and the event director for the holiday festival. We've received your support for 4 years now for marketing efforts to bring people to downtown Glens Falls.
All right.
So we have about 50 vendors each year under heated tents. We do a parade, whole bunch of activities, family friendly, that kind of thing.
All right, when we started in, we had 25,000. You were awarded 25,000. This year you moved up to 35.
Yeah, rising costs with the tents that we have to rent, and we really want to increase marketing downstate.
All right. What does the committee feel? We had it down for 25, but somebody like myself would say, let's equal it out to 30 and you'll still be under what you need if you can succeed a good project that way.
Yeah,
We'll
30
keep
would
track of it for next year. Is that all right with you?
Yes.
You need a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Girassi, Mr. Stroud. We're not
30.
30 instead of 35. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Awesome. Wingfest is set to take place April 27th. This brings about 50 to 75 rooms with 3,000 to 5,000 attendees. Whole bunch of foodies from Albany, Clifton Park area come up for this event. Your funds help pay for marketing efforts as well.
Heather, which one are we on now?
I'm sorry.
When we on now?
We're on the last one on the list up top, the Wingfest.
Oh, that's new. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't see the same gentleman up there. so-
Yeah, no, he's with the collaborative as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have it down for, we gave you 10 last year, I guess. No, you were asking for 10,
He's asking for.
15. It was 10 last year.
It's
Okay,
10.
that's all. How does the board feel about keeping it that? I'd like to
10.
knock it down a little bit, if that's possible.
Yeah, that's fine.
We stick with 10 or 12. Well,
This is also a one-day event.
It's a one-day event, yes.
Yep, 10 is absolutely fine with us, and I think we can.
All right, thank you very
our
much.
efforts just a
I
little.
appreciate everybody's cooperation on it. So I need a motion, Mr. Rossi, Mr. Strainer, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Moving on to the municipality applications, we have two, one from the town of Horicon and one from Lake Luzerne Regional Chamber of Commerce. I don't want to speak on behalf, but if you want me to just keep. You were here. Thank you, my apologies. My apologies, go right.
Good going.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for supporting us the past 4 years. We're on our 5th year. We would be on our 6th, but of course we had COVID in there. We are called Food Truck Friday and on the pond. And we started out, I was on a committee from the beginning and involved in the town right from the very beginning. And it was something to give the community and pull all of our county together and a Friday night event for family and friends and tourism. So we had no idea what to expect. Now, I might add that this year you asked us to drop what we would ask for by 5%, and we did that. And, we've had great success. We serve, this year will only be 9 Fridays, starting on July 5th, I think is the date. Yes, July 5th, and we'll go through August 30th. So it'll be 9 Fridays instead of 10. But we have served about 12 to 1,500 people per night. We've done the surveys. We've done them by walking through and talking personally to everybody. We've also done it computer-wise. We've had the tables set up so they can just take a snap, send it in to us. So we found that a lot of people have stayed. They come early and to take in other events. Lot of campers. When we asked the survey, oh, we're staying at Hidden Pond, we're staying here, we're staying in Lake George, a lot of campers coming through. And we're asking this year for 23,812. As I said, it's 5% less than what we had last year. And again, we thank you for your ongoing support. We have music, we have food, we have games, we have horses from the Albany, the Bells and Horses come up. We have from Warren County, a lot of educational things. We have scuba team. What am I missing? We have the historical societies are there. We have our lake associations are there to educate so that these people that come through and use our lakes, all of them, not only Brant Lake and Scroon Lake, which is part of our town of Horicon, but all the lakes, they are learning about how to protect our lakes. So we feel that this is a great educational section of the Food Truck Friday. It's not all food. There's a lot of education there. Also, the history of the Adirondacks, our historical society. We have a building called the Heinzelman that's on the national record of the National Historical Sites. And we have that, which now has an Adirondack library open to everybody in the county. So we're asking for, as I said, the 23,812 this year, and we hope you'll accept that. And again, thank you for all your support over the years as we celebrate this 5th year.
How can we turn you down? That was a great job. All right, do I have a motion from anybody? Mr. Stroud. All in favor?
Wait, I have a
Aye.
question.
Question.
Where are these food trucks coming from? I'm starting to see this all over. Are these local people that are doing these?
Yes, that's something I didn't mention. When we started, we tried to do all of our entertainment, not 100%, but most everybody involved in our entertainment is somebody that's local. Same way with the food trucks, most of them are local. We've tried to keep everything in Warren County and advertise it that way. So, thank you. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other, yeah, we all did motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed, passed.
And next on our list is Lake Luzerne Regional Chamber.
Oh, they're out.
There's nobody here from the chamber because she worked today. She asked me to do, I didn't really want to do any talking, but we tried the food trucks last year. We paid for it out of town, op tax money. We were hoping for 200 people to show up. First week, we had 300. Second week, we had 400. All right, the third week, we had 500. When we ended up, the last week, 720 people showed up. We had no room for anybody. We can't get any bigger. So that's all I'll say. But this year, they're gonna try to come to this committee to get money. So I have tax money to give to other people in my town. So,
We would love me to give the budget overview, just,
Yeah.
they're asking for $12,000 in their budget. They have a deficit of 2,356.16 to be exact. And all of they have a lot of different types of marketing in here, as well as obviously the band, and so on and so forth. They've got some actually really good.
and the one other thing I'll say, was I can't compare with the other speech, is that we started with 3 food trucks the first week. And we had called like maybe 5. They had called about 5. I'm on the committee. And people turned us down because we weren't large enough. And, you know, we had bands I've been there, this is my 19th year. We've had bands, almost 18, but just bands. Until somebody came up with the idea of food trucks, because they're hearing such great things coming out of food truck, Glens Falls and all. So the first week, we only had 3. Then all of a sudden, they found out how many people were getting. We got 2 more the next week. And the third week, we had a third one. So we had about 6 total, and we're planning on about 8. We have ice cream trucks coming from the townspeople, and the American Legion was there selling hot dogs and hamburgers. So it really worked out. It was a lot of work. I didn't realize how much work it was. Even the garbage, don't realize how much garbage is accumulated until you have to pick it up. So it's a lot of work to do. So we have a, what? Yep. We got a motion. Mr. Rossi got a second? Aaron? All right. I'm going to call a roll call because I really would like
I have
to,
a question.
yes, sir,
Where do you hold this?
in our town park, right by the lake.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they were parking in the school parking lot down the road,
Is there a certain night you do this?
just Wednesday nights.
Oh, good, because that doesn't conflict
No,
with the other.
doesn't look with that. We looked at all.
Running out of food trucks here.
Chairman,
Mind.
can I recommend that the
Oh,
vice
wait,
chair
another question.
take over and that you
Yeah.
step off as chairman for the
Okay.
vote?
So my vice chair is, well, today it'll have Miss Running. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just looking at the numbers there. Is that number of attendee 42,000? Is that a typo or?
Which one on the,
Reading that correct?
no, we don't have 42,000.
4,200.
4,200 maybe, not 42,000.
Very big. I wish.
I don't even have population in the town to carry that. All right, so we have a but I have to ask Ms. Runyon to be my second, to run the vote on this.
Yeah.
And call a roll call. Okay, we can say from all in favor,
Aye.
and I'll abstain. Yes, I'll recuse myself because it's town liquor.
Good job.
All right, so it's passed. Okay, thank you.
Team player.
All right, that's our tax this year.
Thank you all very much.
And I want to thank you all for helping us out. It's going to help next year's, we're trying to build back the kitty up for Octax. Everybody wants money and it's getting harder and harder. And some of the bigger events need a lot of money. So, but we do have more coming in up until June, I think, right? Heather, you got anything else to say? on it?
No, I just want to make sure you don't need one final vote on all of it or just each individual. Okay, just want to make
Each
sure.
individual is good.
Um,
And wait, before we get out of Octax, anybody has anything else to say about Octax or any?
we're still in October.
Huh?
We're October.
Well, we're gonna move into, we're gonna move into tourism now. All
Um,
right. Go ahead, Heather.
If I may, I didn't have my notes at the beginning, so I'm glad a lot of you stayed around. I do want to introduce Erin Davis at the end here. She's our new Assistant Tourism Coordinator. She comes to us with some experience working with Roost. For those of you who are not familiar with Roost, Roost is the Regional Office of Sustainable Tourism. They represent the Adirondack region. And her role is going to be a lot of different things. She's going to handle the collateral distribution. She's going to oversee tourism database, manage destination-specific data and research, and bring us up to speed on all of the latest industry data and statistical trends. So we're very excited to have her. She's going to be a big part of helping us to identify the success of a lot of these events outside of those who provide such fabulous research and feedback. She's also, we're going to actually, we have some Air DNA, we have visa data, we've got mobile data, as well as a couple other research pieces that we're looking into as well to allow us to really identify not only who we want to market to, but who is actually here in our communities. So please welcome Erin, and thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. We are ready to dive into the next part of the agenda.
We're going to resolutions now.
Okay. So moving on to the next is, we're looking to extend the History on the Road TV contract from its current expiration date of October 31st to December 31st. And we do have Don Ridner here to give us an update.
Hi,
I'm not sure how I screwed it up, but I thought I had put down for a year, 12 months to do the show. It's 8 shows. Somehow it ended up 3 months on the contract. I'm fast, but not that fast. It takes about 6 months just to edit. So we have another couple of shows to do. But the Canadian fighters was screwed up a little bit of the shooting last year. But we want to finish it in the springtime, 4 episodes, and then we'll edit it. And then hopefully have it all in the fall. So I'd like to get the, at least contract extended so we can finish this up.
Okay.
I think you'll like the episode on the Queensberry vampire.
Thank you, Ken.
Heather, we have a cost on that?
The cost for that is $36,400. That was the amount of the contract that was awarded last year. He's not asking for any additional funds, just to extend the contract.
All right, Mr. Stroud?
Can I move B and C since they're both related?
C.
We moved together. Okay.
Yes, we can. Okay.
For those who aren't seeing C, that's, we've got to take the dollars out of the reserve. Because once the year ends, the contract year ended, the monies go back to the reserve.
Oh, yeah.
So it needs to be taken from the reserve back into the account to satisfy the dollars.
Okay.
All right. Everybody understand that? So we're going for B and C. Can we get a motion? Mr. Stroud? Ms. Runyon? Any other questions?
Where's this done?
It's, well, he asked, where is it done?
We're shooting 7 episodes in Warren County.
All over the county?
Yeah, we did an episode on where the #2 pencil was invented. Graphite, New York, which is now an abandoned village. Used to have 3 taverns and many houses, a big mill. Now it's just a forest with foundation, but it's a great story. We did one on Lake George itself, the history of Lake George. Did one on the Battle of Lake George. We were able to put our camera people right in the battle, so got some good footage on that. We're doing one on the lost ski resorts. And there's Queensberry Vampire, and one on the what was her name now? Marcella. I can't think of her last. Thank you, Sember. Yeah, one of the famous opera singers of all time. The whole show on her. So we really have some good shows. We just need to finish them.
Okay, Mr. Stroud,
All Warren
your
County.
information?
Yeah.
Okay. So we need a motion? Oh, we have one and we
Yeah,
have a second?
got a vote.
And time for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next request is, sorry, hold on, is to, renew a contract, an ongoing contract, for Warren County Radio featuring a feature that airs twice daily during our prime listener times of 7:20 a.m. and 5:20 p.m. They do an awesome job. I have to say, I feel like they go above and beyond their contract obligations. So I'd like to put forth that resolution to renew their contract in the annual amount of $24,000. Payable $2,400 per month.
2,000.
Rafi made a
Or
motion.
2,000 per month. 2,000.
Well, but you didn't do your math right.
No, I just read. I was just reading.
And you want to extend it for 3 years.
All right, I got a motion. The guy get a second on that? All right. Ms. Runyon, doing a good job with the seconds.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Only thing I'd like to hear, play a little more Elvis music on your station once in a while. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
God knows we need more of that.
So we need to do an authorization to continue an agreement with STR to provide monthly hotel occupancy data. The contract exceeds the $5,000 required for and needs committee approval for the purchasing guidelines. That total amount is $5,988.
Mr. Stroud, move it. Ms. Rock, you move it. Runyon, Ms. Runyon. All right, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed.
And our last resolution here is to request to create a position of marketing coordinator, eliminating the position of creative director. After being without a director for a little while and identifying the needs of the organization, we do not have a need for a second director. But we do have a need for an oversight of marketing, specifically in our contracts and executing and continuing to enhance our brand identity. As you saw, we are giving away dollars to support events, and part of that role of this person would be to work with these different organizations to make sure that our branding is consistent and our logo is used appropriately throughout all of the contracts that we have within this organization, as well as all of the marketing efforts we put forth in within our department.
Who would this be, Heather?
This would be a new position. We are looking at internal staff as well.
Okay, so we don't know yet.
We don't know at the moment. No. Do you have any suggestions? You can put the applications on this.
All right.
So we're eliminating a position, creating a new one. What's it gonna be dollar wise?
70,000, a maximum of $70,401.
What's the position that we're deleting paying?
91,000.
All right, no, that's fine. Good girl.
There's
Much better.
a lot less responsibilities as
But
well.
we're not sure what that exactly until we go through some of the
Shh, Gene, that's
applicants.
a big
Maybe
thing.
we have to.
Yeah. Well, the maximum we can award based on the grade level is 70,401. So that's the maximum.
Okay, we got discussion items.
We actually have to make.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Strainer, you're making that motion?
Yeah.
And Mr. Stroud, you second it. Oh, Mr. Bean, I'd like to, you second that second. That's very good.
Take it off you.
Thank you.
Thank
Take it off
you,
of-
thank
Well,
you.
Anytime.
My arm gets-
Happy to-
All right,
yeah.
you got the planning department here.
You gotta vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
We have a planning department request.
Thanks, I'm Sarah Franklin, from the department.
Please speak up.
We have, we are asking to renew a contract with Cliff and Redfield Interactive. I have Dan Forbush from Cliff and Redfield Interactive is here on Zoom. This has been funded, our contract with them has been funded by occupancy tax for the last couple of years. They're a small communications firm in Saratoga County, and we work with them to promote cultural and heritage tourism in Warren County. Primarily, we've been focused for the last couple of years in the First Wilderness communities. So last year we asked for $26,140. Our current contract expires January 31st. We're asking for $20,000 for this coming year. The things that we have on the agenda for this year, during 2023, we developed and launched a beta version of a mobile app called Explore Warren County. This is a GPS triggered audio tours. It works offline since, or without cell service. We know much of the First Wilderness does not have cell service. So this is a really great new app. If you have not downloaded it and tried it from the App Store or Google Play Store, I strongly encourage you to do so. Basically, it allows, we have 3 tours currently in the app. One accompanies the Historians Challenge letterboxing tour and provides GPS triggered narrative for each location on that tour. We have a newly launched walking tour of downtown North Creek. And then finally, we have a driving tour from starting between exit 17 and 18, right as you're entering Warren County, going all the way through the county up through its exit in North River, heading towards Indian Lake. Again, these are all GPS triggered stories that we work with local historians to produce. We have professional audio recording. So check it out. So we're hoping to expand this with 2 additional tours this coming year in 2024. So this year we're proposing to move our storytelling a little bit out of the First Wilderness. We'll still be doing storytelling in the First Wilderness, but we are requesting funding to prepare the application to get Alma Farm and Mormon Rock, both sites of very significant historic significance in the town of Bolton, onto the National Register of Historic Places. We have enthusiastic support from the town of Bolton historian, from DEC's historian Chuck Vandry, from the town of Bolton supervisor. So we would like to do all of the necessary paperwork and mapping to make a proposal to get that on the historic register. That will enable that location to be eligible for funding for site improvements. I don't know if anybody's actually walked in that site, but there's all sorts of, it's on state land in Lake George Wild Forest, so it's publicly accessible. There's all sorts of really cool stonework that was built by the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the 1930s. So we think this is an exciting destination. We know that people are looking for opportunities for cultural and historic tourism. And we'd like to get this site on the National Register, to develop some educational materials that can be distributed at the local chambers and visitor centers to encourage people to go visit the site. And then hopefully get some additional funding from state agencies down the line to do some site improvements. And then finally, we're just hoping to continue work on our existing website, Stories from Open Space, where we tell fun, engaging stories from around Warren County to encourage people to get out and explore.
All right. I didn't get you. We gave you 26,000 last year.
Yep.
What did you say we were requesting?
20,000 this year.
20,000. So you're dropping down for that. That's good. Okay. All right.
Good.
Again, do we get a motion?
I just want to go through the budget very quickly, because this was not in our budget. So looking, just discussing on a sidebar with Lisa on where those funds should come from. We only have 118,500 in the events line, and then 14,180 in the municipality line.
So what do you,
Funds would come from either of those lines. We said,
I would suggest it comes from municipalities and move the difference from events
Okay.
to that line.
Where'd it come from last year?
I think they did this through the treasurer's office, and I believe it came out of special events.
all right.
so
And
with that,
we need a,
we'd need to make a motion.
all right. We would need to make a motion. All right. What's
No,
your,
we don't need to move funds, I'm
All
sorry,
right.
because we have it in the budget. We'll
Okay.
take care of that internally. We just need the motion to support.
okay, so Mr. Strainer, I thought your hand was up. Ms.
Might have been.
Runyon? Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for that. All right. Looks like Winter Coalition update. Sounds like Sam.
Good.
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for having us today. And thank you for working with us over the past year to make
I thought I had one.
Warren County a 365 destination. We started this journey on February 8th of last year with many of you, even our friends from Cell were very supportive for us. We have a robust packet to bring you through. Our presentation is much more, which we hope to have the opportunity at the end of this year to bring you through the data. Aaron, I look forward to working with you. I'm glad you're on board with us. Sarah Mannix will bring us through the marketing. Christian Dutcher will bring us through operations, as he mentioned. And I'll touch base on a little bit of the data. And with that, I'll turn this over to Sarah.
Thank you so much for having us. There is about 100-page marketing report with a ton of detail. And so we're not going to bore you with all that, but it is a written report, and I'd be very happy to go over the minutia of all the changes and how we handled things. Our goal with the marketing is to grow awareness for the event, since it's a first-time event. Push those people from the funnel into, let's consider this, and then conversions. And so a good portion of the marketing is on that. And what we've seen is the people who came through the bottom of the funnel and went through, they've become advocates. They are supporting us on social, they're sharing. And they're really getting the word out here about Lake George and about the event. So what are our top sources of ticket sales? So our number one source is organic traffic. People are Googling things and they're finding Winter's Dream. That's 43%. Now they're Googling it because of all of the awareness marketing that is out there. There's a tremendous amount of effort on all parts. The number two is what we would call our partner sites, like George.com, Saratoga.com, GlensFalls.com, CliftonPark.com, and Adiron.net. That's responsible for 20% of the ticket sales. Next is the social media effort for Winter's Dream and through influencer marketing. That's another 18%. We have a little dance music here. So social media is where our biggest expense is because it is driving the bulk of the tickets. The next is our partner, Visit Lake George. They did an incredible thing this year. They normally don't link directly to buy tickets, and due to a partnership with Heather, it really makes a big difference because what she did allows us to convert more rather than send it to a different website and then to our website, which you lose 20% there. She sent them direct, and that was a massive difference, and we saw that in our sales. So we really appreciate that, Heather. And that was 13% of our sales. I'm going to talk about social media really quickly. So social media is Instagram. Well, for us, it's a lot more. There's a lot of social media, but for the ones that we focused on were Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Our social media reach, not including what guests post, because quantifying that is silly, but what we spent on and what we focused on, we've reached 6 million people. It's huge visibility for Lake George, and really drove ticket sales. Where are we marketing Winter's Dream? So keep following this little thing. Sorry, guys, not everybody has these pictures, but they're beautiful. Here's a heat map of where the actual tickets buyers came from. And you can see that the bulk is within a 50-mile radius of Saratoga Springs and downstate. We also had some hot spots in the Utica, Buffalo, Syracuse area. And for the first time in a long time in the winter, we're seeing Montreal. And that is the Moment Factory effect. How are we marketing Winter's Dream? This is the biggest effort I've ever been involved in my 27 years of marketing. We proposed to do a certain amount of marketing, and we are doing way more than that. So I would like to share just kind of a brief overview of all the ways we are marketing. We wish we could support every media in the region, but with our budgets, we had to support, do what we can. But we did online TV. This was recommended by Six Flags. We had an audit committee review our marketing budget to make sure they agreed with it. And Six Flags, because they do a lot of event marketing, and they did winter event marketing with their Christmas events, they went through line by line with us and made a lot of recommendations. And one of the big ones was, this is a video forward marketing effort. People didn't understand what Winter's Dreams was. We tried to explain it to you guys, and to everyone, this is what it is. They're like, what is it this? So it really has to be video forward, which is why the TV ads, the video ads that could be either on social or a TV platform were so critical.
Do you mean like Hulu or something like that?
So yes, so basically online video and CTV, so connected TV. So it's not on Spectrum, but we did do TV ads, not Hulu specific. So that would have been nice, but that would have been a big buy. So then we did influencer marketing. So the LakeGeorge.com has 200,000 followers. We leveraged that. We had influencers who are travel influencers from downstate. Most of them came for free. It's just blood, sweat, and tears, calling them, saying, hey, can you come on up and do a story on us? And they did. Hudson Valley Happenings. Through Heather's connection, we got I Love New York up here. Visit Adirondacks talked about it. We really grew a reach a lot through influencers who told the story, and that having them tell the story was just so critical for people to understand what this experience was about. In print, we did the Lake George Mirror and the Chronicle, and you probably see that every time you open the Chronicle, they gave us the second page. Thank you, Mark Frost. I mean, all of the print partners have been so incredibly generous with their marketing of Lake George. Through Walt Adams, we have the Saratoga market covered with radio, and we did TV ads through WNYT, WTEN, and WRGB. And all of our partners gave us at least a 50% free boost of marketing for the amount we paid for them. And some of them gave us a 7X, like $7 for $1 spend. We kind of beat them up. When Staples sent out free coupons for print, I'd go and make posters and I deliver them around. So we have posters, we have banners at exit 20. And then Gina Mintzer put out a call to all of the local businesses to let us use their marquees. And the Civic Center has us on their marquee. Boats by George has us on their marquee. The Aviation Mall has us on all of their displays. So we have our video ads playing within the mall. None of this costs us any money. It's just people trying to help this become successful. We also did giveaway marketing, and that helped us grow our email list. Again, doesn't cost any money to do giveaways, but we did giveaways with a lot of people to grow our email list so that we could remarket to these people. We did SEO and local maps optimization so people could find us. And we threw in email marketing and do email marketing to those people who filled out the forms for the giveaways. One of the things that came to us from Moment Factory, which I think is a really cool idea, is we did 4 days of tech days. It was a boatload of work. And we invited all the local service staff from the county and from Saratoga and talked to them and handed out free coupons and brought them in to experience the event to tell other people about it, because word of mouth is key. We also did multiple webinars with them, and we gave them free tickets to Winter Realms and Winter Stream so they can experience both. And we did something called ticket conversion rate optimization. So when we first went to market, our conversion rates, which meant for every 100 people that came to the site, only one converted. And we know that the norm is 2.5%. So we're like, what's going on? Why aren't they doing it? And I'm going to say Christian went out of his way to work with us with this ticketing system to make a lot of changes. And we now have a 9% conversion rate. So our conversions are through the roof, and I want to give them props for that. We signed a deal with Nudge Text Marketing, and it costs us nothing to do a text campaign to their New York City group of followers. 200,000 followers will get a text story on Winter's Dream. That's happening in January. We did packaging with hotels, and we did packaging with all of our local partners through this discount passport program with Gina. And just recently, we created a deal with Market 32 to be in all of their hundreds of stores at the checkout, where one of the videos that rotates in for a Market 32 Mondays. So it's 20% off for people. We've got a little price sensitivity saying, hey, aren't you going to cut the deal? So we talked to Price Chopper, and they said, yes, we'll do this, and we'll give you money to support your operational expenses, and we're going to put you on every screen. We went to the supermarket and said, boy, it takes a long time for ours to play. And we called them up and they said, we'll put it on. I said, can you put us on more than once? And so they 2X our visibility on those screens. This Thursday, we're doing Military Appreciation Night, where all military veterans with proper ID will come for free, and their friends and their family can come for 20% off. That's Thursday specifically. We're doing romance packages. And thanks to the Six Flags, they shared very sensitive data with us that they spent a lot of time accumulating on when are people in the different school breaks vacationing, so that we can do targeted ads around when somebody's going to have their school break or their general breaks according to the geographic, the zip codes, and for the dates. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We're also doing group marketing. Of course, Sam, Emily, Gina, Billy Joe, and I have Sam written again. Went out to corporations and they're just spending their own time meeting people and asking them to bring groups and buy group lots of tickets. So I think what I want you to come away with is there's a massive collaborative effort between many, many partners to make this a success. United Way is having a United Way night, and on one of the nights we're closed, and we hope to support them with that. On the media coverage angle, I have to say, BN Communications has been outstanding. You guys can't see these pictures, but there's a lot of press, and the press has been great from all over. The consistency of the coverage, like every day there's coverage, has been fantastic. They have reached 200 million people, 200 million people with the media coverage. And that media coverage is worth $1.8 million. And from a marketing standpoint, I look at this and think it can't but have a positive rose impact on Lake George over time. Now I'm going to leave. I know you want real numbers on how many tickets we've sold and everything else. So I'm going to bring this over to Kristen.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christian Decher. I work with American Events, and I'm running the operations of Winter's Green. And today we've sold 19,500 tickets. If we had this meeting tomorrow, I would have been able to say we're over 20,000. In the month of December, we were averaging about 500 people per night. And on a number of occasions in December, we had either just over or close to 1,500 people per night. Our customer satisfaction, which is hugely important to us, and we pay very close attention to it, and we measure in a couple of different ways, is over 81% they consider themselves satisfied with the visit. And there's a specific metric that certain industries use to measure customer happiness, and we are at close to an 8.4 rating out of 10. That's considered a good grade, and I will say that we opened for the public in December 8th, and that grade has consistently migrated upward. We're very attentive to the customer needs. We trip over ourselves to make sure the customer experience is very good, and that grade has been migrating upward. We've made improvements to the show since opening regularly, and in fact, our biggest set of improvements are about to happen next week. We've reached out to Moment Factory. They're actually donating their time, which is sort of unheard of. They're all in on this event. This is a brand new type of event for them, and they're coming back down. We as a team will get together and install a whole new round of improvements that I'm certain will drive that customer score even higher. So we're very happy with that. This segues into the lodging related data.
Thank you, Kristen. So the question is all of this effort, all this marketing equaling OCTEX dollars? And pulling from the Smith Travel Reports for December, our OCTEX is up 7.5% over 2022. When I say OCTEX, I mean RevPAR. And for those that may be new to the jargon, RevPAR is revenue per available room. It's a look at both rate and volume combined, and those equate to OCTEX dollars. Over 22 and 4.5% over 2023. Why'd we do both years? Well, this month coming up, January, is very interesting what we're up against. Remember back last year, Essex County had the Winter Games, the University Winter Games. That was huge for Essex County, even as big, or almost as big for Warren County. Our own Fort William Henry saw the state police at 70 to 90 rooms per night all the way through January. So we're up against big figures. So that's why we took a look at both years to make sure we're comparing apples to apples. The hotels are realizing elevated ADRs, average daily rates, we believe because of the events and what we put forth in Warren County. And a better look at this, and I'll go back to Smith Travel. Smith Travel was bought by CoStar in 2019. CoStar owns apartments.com, a very, very large research company. So we're pulling this data from very reputable sources. We went back and we looked at, those are good numbers, but we were expecting even better numbers with all the work we put in. And they weren't astounding us like we thought they would. We said, why? We went back and we looked at a competitive site. And if you go to page 22, and I'm sorry if you don't have this, we took a head-to-head comparison between Warren County and Essex County, because that is the county that compares for the winter business at December. And if you look, Warren County on the weekends was up about 7%. And midweek, they were up close to 15%. Essex County was down close to 30% midweek and down 3% on the weekends. They took a really big hit. So we said, why is that? Is it Warren County or is it Essex County? So we called CoStar. And those of you that have been around in the industry for a long time, there was a gentleman by the name of Dwayne Vincent who gave a couple of presentations to Warren County from Smith Travel in the years past. I reached out to Dwayne. He's moved up in the company, moved his office, matter of fact. And he put his top guy with me and he said two things. He said, first of all, it's not your region. He said, your region is facing a couple of things, one being weather. And he said, the other is the economy. And I quote him when he said to me, have you been to the grocery store lately? And, I said, yes, I get it. So it's not a Warren County, it's actually a national problem that's everybody's facing. We just happen to face some unusual weather patterns along with it. So if it wasn't for the efforts of everybody on the county, these numbers would be a hell of a lot worse. And we could face what Essex County was facing. By the marketing efforts of Sarah and Christian putting this together and many others around the county, we're able to stabilize and improve Octax dollars. And the best is yet to come. We got a big month coming up with Winter Carnival in February. And so we're excited about that. Now that's hotels and that's Octax dollars. On the other side of the coin is the restaurants. And if you go to 23, we only have John Carr here and Gina's here. She can talk. She's stuck to other restaurants. Many of the restaurants, I won't say most, many of the restaurants are citing 30 to 33% up over last year. If you've been to Lake George on a Saturday night, you'll see the traffic jams and you'll see the restaurants all doing very well. We have been able to move the needle. We have been able to bring people to the county as anticipated. We've been up against some very strong headwinds. I can assure you it's not because of a lack of an effort. And some of those headwinds, I want to bring Sarah back up and talk about things that we faced that you might already be aware.
So for those of you who don't have pretty pictures, we have a beautiful picture of some people at Winter Dream with umbrellas. And says we went in the pouring rain with my 20-year-old kid and my 26-year-old kids, and we had so much fun. It was pouring rain, there were no lines, 110% worth the time. It rained 15 days that we were open in December, and it was not raining for 7 of the days that we were open, rain or predicted rain. That was definitely a challenge because the majority of our tickets are sold the day of. We do not have a chart where people are buying in advance. They are, there's a trickles of in advance, but for the most part, they are last minute planning to come. So that rain really impacted us. That was a challenge, but we did learn we are weatherproof. We are running no matter what, in the rain, in the snow, no matter what, we are running that event. And people had a good time. So we were still able to pull decent numbers, a few hundred on those nights, 100 to a couple hundred people coming when it's pouring rain of their own volition is pretty impressive. But it was a challenge. The other challenge we had, and I think you're all aware of, because you all asked this question yourself, is what's the difference between Winter Realms and Winter's Dream? Well, we were getting our name trademarked. They named theirs, and 2 days apart, we had announced that we had very similar attractions with very similar names. They are an incredible partner. So they are a win. They are, we promoted them, we co-promoted them for the entire month of December. All of our marketing, all of our PR was for both Winter's Dream and Winter's Realm. Not all of the marketing. So some of the marketing was strictly Winter's Dream, but a good portion of the marketing and all the influencer marketing. We invited the influencers to come to Winter's Dream and said, you can also do a separate piece for free on Winter's Round. And so there was just a big buzz around it, but then there was also confusion. And so those are challenges that we've worked through on how to change how we communicate about who we are. And it's definitely a challenge that we have out there. And I guess now it's time for questions. Yes, Jean,
Not
do
a question. The TV commercial is great. That's-
you want to play it? Do you have it?
I don't have it with me here, but I
Uh,
saw it on my own home TV.
Not on anything. Send it to
So
us.
it's great. And the second thing I think I mentioned this at one of the meetings. You have a picture here of a woman with her arm out with the eagle that you have on the side of the building. In the Post Star, the night we had our VIP meeting, the next day there was a picture of a woman petting your wolf there. That, it said an anonymous woman. It was my wife. So, she's real proud of it. She's got it on our internet, you know. She figured out how to get in the, whatever camera you got there, back enough that her hand is on the wolf, and it worked out really well. So she's thrilled about that, so. But I think you people did more than anticipated. And this is gonna wind up by June. We're gonna find out what we were happy to do what we did. It cost a lot of money, and I think it's gonna be well worth it for the business people and for Warren County as a whole.
Thank you. Thank you for supporting this effort and supporting all of these efforts. We're all here to make Lake George better. And it's a lot of work. God bless everybody in this room.
Yep. Any other questions before they leave? Mr. Stroud?
So we had 19,000 paid and unpaid visitors.
Ticket buyers. Paid.
19,500 tickets were sold at this time, give or take. How many did we expect to have at this time?
That's a good question.
That's a great question, John. We anticipated over 100,000 for this season. We never really broke it down by month. to Speak of, we knew that February was gonna be our biggest month. Based again on this Castle's data that we had. And the best is yet to come. We think February is gonna be a very big month for us with everything going on. We'll capitalize on that. As we look to March, we're gonna go more toward the corporate programs, push some of the corporate events that we have out there. That's why we're out beginning this doors now. We'll try to bring these tickets into somewhere between what we expected and a reasonable number. Okay.
So we're a little bit below from what we expected, and perhaps some of that is due to the rain.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about December. You want to even talk about January. You think back to one of the big weekends, which is Martin Luther King weekend. Saturday, it rained, it poured all day long. And those things those big ticket days affects us, unfortunately, in ticket sales. I will say this, though, in a closing statement, we did have our first proposal on the first snow. We had a young lady and man proposed to his young lady, and we were able to put some romance package. There's been a lot of great storylines coming in, and this event is definitely branding Lake George for the future. And that was one of our goals. Will we fall short on ticket sales? Probably, from where we thought we'd be. A lot of variables that we didn't expect, the rain being one of them, the weather. As Sarah said, our event is not weather dependent. We'll go on rain or snow or whatever weather is thrown our way. The spectators, though, are not as reasonable to stand in the rain. So we are fighting those elements.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I was allowed to ask a question, but I'm curious because you said that it was a lot of day of ticket sales, which surprised me. So if we're drawing people for overnights, why do you think that that's happening?
When I say there's a lot of day of, out of, say, 600 ticket sales, 200 are bought in advance, 400 are bought on the day.
Oh, so probably similar to overnights versus day trippers.
We are seeing heavy day trippers, for sure.
That makes sense.
It is heavy day trippers, yes.
Anything else? Anything from, see a hand there,
Just one
Nina?
comment. We're getting calls from other tourism agencies around the Northeast. This past weekend, a couple came up from the South County, Rhode Island Tourism Council. They stayed at the Sagamore, checked out all the ice bars that are here. They did Winter's Dream, Winter Realms throughout the weekend. because they want to see how they can bring similar events to their community. We also had a call from Hartford, Connecticut about, how did you fund this? How did this happen? Because they're seeing all of this promotion throughout the Northeast. And I'll expect, Heather, I'm sure you'll get calls in the future too from other colleagues to say, what did you do there? Because we're seeing that information. But the South County, Rhode Island was very interesting because they see their own people go up to ice castles in New Hampshire, straight shot up. But they're seeing people come to Lake George or heard about that from locals who were already planning to come. And so they came here to check us out. So it was really interesting to see that this weekend.
Thank you, Jean.
And I forwarded the video, the TV commercial to you, Heather, if you could send it around. It does have your logo prominently displayed.
Yes, sir.
This is from everyone at Sale. Thank you for your dedication to accessibility as well. with the event.
And I thank you, and I think it is really, I can't tell you how many people called and said, like, we partnered with Double H as well, how grateful they were that there was an attraction that was accessible, that they could do with their kids who couldn't walk or who were in wheelchairs, and their grandparents. And we had a woman from Lake Placid just tell us how much it meant to have an accessible attraction. So that is pretty exciting and special, really special.
All right, anything else so we can move on? No?
Thank you.
Thank you all.
You.
Up next is the Lake George TV. Okay.
I'm not sure why we're on the agenda.
Quarterly report,
Quarterly report.
sent one out. You usually give an overview and an update every quarter after you send your.
I'm sorry,
Would you like to come next time?
yeah.
I would love it.
All right.
Catching me off guard, I'm sorry.
All right, we'll give a
I
little
didn't know we
more
were on
time
the
to
agenda.
Gina Minster for the CVB.
Do you want, I don't know what kind of detail you want, but I mean, we live it every day, so we can give you a sense of it.
Just tell you what's going on with us. I just want to start out though by saying to all the folks that were just awarded dollars from occupancy tax and all of that, to make sure that you take advantage of the assets that the county is investing in, like Lake George TV. Send us videos. Every new video that goes on the platform, we promote it through social media. Just last night, I got one from the Thunder. It was an update for their triple header this weekend. Within 50 minutes, it had close to 700 views. So get us that stuff when you can. Make sure that you send the tourism and the chambers as well. So a couple things. We're closing in on 500 videos now. We've created a winter fun category, so we're populating that with events that are specific to the winter. We've launched a TikTok channel, which gets about 600 to 700 views on average for our videos on there. We've extended our social reach on Facebook and Instagram. I think at our year-end update, we mentioned that we have reached about 50,000 now for social media. We are doing a sweepstakes. We have solicited donations from our advertisers. So an event or like Leaf Air has given us a 1-hour flight over Lake George. Someone else has offered lodging. Someone else has offered a gift basket. So the purpose of the sweepstakes is to drive consumer engagement. So we're going to be investing in some social media campaigns. And the idea is to sort of win Lake George, if you will, win an experience, win a weekend in Lake George. And the prizes will be these donations from our advertisers. So if you are on the platform or you have not sent us a video and you're going to send us a video and you want to participate, we'll be sharing the email addresses of the consumers who sign up for the sweepstakes with the advertisers, so that you can then market to them in the future. And we'll also be giving you extensive recognition throughout the campaign. We are setting up meetings with all the new supervisors so that they know what the platform is about and give them the sort of our recap, if you will. We're doing a second, or really kind of a fourth round of meetings I just had one with North Creek Business Association last week. We're doing things like Lakes Community Alliance, et cetera, and the chambers as well. So another whole round of meetings with these organizations that can help us make sure that all of the businesses, all the eligible businesses, are aware of us and are sending us videos on a regular basis. On that note, as far as videos go, we have started to get a few replacement videos. So that's a business that was already on the platform and had a better video or a newer video or a special event video that they wanted to send to us. When we get those, we replace the existing video or we put it up in our featured events section and then we promote it on social media. So it's a good way to keep it fresh for consumers. It's also a way for businesses to get some fresh attention on our platform. We have continued to work with our partners. This past year, one of the things we did was to create the ability for folks to be able to loop the videos and play them in a continuous stream. That came at the request of RevRail. So this summer, when you go into a RevRail station, you might see Lake George TV playing on a continuous loop on the TVs within their stations. In meeting with North Creek Business Association, Goose Pond Inn has Roku devices on all their TVs, where they have Lake George TV on all of the TVs within their rooms. Folks like the Bell House Inn have our tent cards with QR codes, scannable QR codes, so that any of their guests can download the Lake George TV app and be able to scan through it to see what else there is to see and do while they're in Warren County. We've updated our mobile apps to the latest version of iOS and Android, also Roku, and we're currently talking to our provider about what it would take to get us on Amazon Fire as well. So we're looking at that one. Since we're already on iOS and Android devices and also Apple TV and Roku, we wanted to also look at Amazon Fire as another venue. And let's see. Continuing to work with tourism and the chambers and our advertisers for consumer outreach. Heather and her team has done a great job about doing a little bit of positioning of us so that we're a little bit more prominent, a little bit easier to find. And part of that also has been to put together a marketing plan. So we're putting together a marketing plan that contains not only a monthly component to drive consumers, but also some allocation for special events. And this year for us is going to be all about, we built it in year one, we populated it, we tried to break it a few times. And for us, year two is all about the marketing, just getting as many consumers as possible to be aware of this, to download it, to use it, and become a regular thing that they use when they're planning their trips up there in Warren County. So, any questions? Okay. We have a business, finish your videos.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gina Minzer, the Executive Director of the Lake George Regional Chamber of Commerce and CVB. And today's report in front of you is the Q4 report, but it's also a year-end report or a year-to-date report in front of you. So right out of the gate, you'll see on page 2 our key performance indicators. And basically, they tell the story of the entire year. The number of leads that were generated were sent to lodging and accommodations properties throughout the county for specifically overnight rooms. We did include seasonals and short-term rentals. Last year, Supervisor Hogan of Johnsburg had requested to include those known owners of multiple seasonals in our lead outreach, which we did. So there are certain companies around the county, whether it's Northern New York or the Summit in Johnsburg or others throughout the county that have multiple properties. So we wanted to include those because those entities were also capturing occupancy tax dollars among their rentals. Bookings, you'll see included all market segments, meetings, sports, weddings, bus tours. We did revamp our leads process about weddings. We've been asked, are you wedding, producers? We are not. We do want to make sure that if a lead goes out for a wedding block, it's a real block. Those of you who've ever coordinated a wedding understand that the average hotel does not want to give up their hotel for your wedding block because they might hold those rooms for a year because you've got that venue, but the people may stay all over just based on their own personal budgets. So that, we were spending too much time trying to track down those room nights. So now if a wedding block is over 20 more over rooms, then we will send it out as a lead. If not, it gets sent as a referral, and you'll see later in the report, the number of referrals that go out from our office to our partners. And a referral could be obviously for room nights, but it could also be for, you know, a group to go on the steamboat company or on a waterfront cruise, or for a wedding cake, and or all of the other accoutrements that might come with regard to any kind of event, not just a wedding. Also on this KPI, you'll see booked attendees. This year compared to last year, for edification, especially we have 2 new supervisors who joined us, and welcome. And we will be coming to meet with you to understand what's our sales and marketing plan, and then what is it that we do as an extension of Warren County Tourism to book group business and not the leisure traveler. So we are focused, laser focused on that group business to come here. And you'll see that at the very end, when you'll see every single lead that went out, what were the numbers, you know, what was the economic impact of that, is all part of this plan, or all part of this report. So compared to last year, we booked several sporting events in 2022 for multiple years. So for instance, New York State Public High School Athletic Association, that bid went out for 3 years in a row. So they had much higher attendees. When you look at booked attendees compared to last year, we were much higher in 2022. This year, bookings we didn't need to book those same sporting events because we'd already booked them for multiple years in the future. We'd also booked partial or added more rooms to the World Games. Sam had mentioned the World Games. So for us here in Warren County, in January of 2023, we had enjoyed a whole sellout of Six Flags for 14 nights, completely sold out, and all of their meals and everything else. And then the Fort had all of the security, 90 rooms a night, as he mentioned. And then the Holiday Inn had all media that were covering our games at Gore Mountain. So we had all that in this market, and half of it, not all of it, was booked in 2022. So we saw a lot of those room nights as well as those attendees at a higher number in 2022, just to give you a little edification on that. Booked room nights included working with properties throughout the county to ensure great customer experience for both the booked party as well as the proprietor, which is all part of, we do a whole post-con, you know, to circle back to get that after action report. So that's a big piece of, we'll also know then, somebody might have contracted for 100 room nights, but they may have only picked up 89. So we also adjust all of our follow-up to understand that, you know, whole circle of the business, so that you'll see sometimes fluctuations in our EEI, because now we've got actuals when we close that circle after the fact. Economic impact, also seen here. This shows how the number of attendees impacts economic impact. Day visitors are as important as overnight guests in the group business. And we didn't actualize our goals in this regard, as events have come back not as large as we had strategized in our sales and marketing plan, which we send that plan to the county between August and September, you know, in advance of budget considerations and what's happening. And then this past in 2022, at the end of the year, Supervisor Merlino had come to us as there was changes in the tourism department to say, would you take on the group tour market? So we did alter our sales and marketing plan to focus a bit of 2023 on the bus tour market, which you'll see we've been able to really jumpstart some activities there that had been dormant over a couple of years. And really because of the pandemic, which stopped group tour, you know, 50 people didn't get on a bus. And then it was slow to come back just because of that population who gets on the bus for bus tours. MeetLakeGeorge.com is an extension of Warren County Tourism Department's website, Visit Lake George, but with more in-depth meeting and group information. So if you were to look at information, let's say on the Queensberry Hotel, you're going to see more about how they can handle a group versus come to our beautiful hotel. We have 3 restaurants, and you know, so on Visit Lake George, it's really focused on a leisure traveler. MeetLakeGeorge.com is focused on that group person who would come here, or to look at us and to book for that. Guide requests here, we did not focus on our guides because we were revamping them. We revamped both the wedding guide in Q4 and then the meeting guide, which just launched 2 weeks ago. a close collaboration with the hospitality community and the CBD team ensured that all information was easily available in both the guides. And I say it's a guide, it's a digital guide that reads like a book. So that you can, you get excited about what you want to see. And when we go to a trade show, we need that as a follow-up, and not everybody needs paper as we've seen in our market. So that's kind of gives you that rundown of the KPIs, and then the rest of this really backs up our key performance indicators. On page 3 is really basically a visual of what those KPIs are for year-to-date 2023 versus our year-end target, and 2023 versus 2022 as a total. So I just wanted you to understand that. On page 4, we highlight our the actual Q4 highlights. So what did we do for the county in Q4? We launched our in-house wedding guide, or finalized it so that we could actually use it. And the reason for that is the wedding market, we really have seen the most engagements take place between Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. So we focus, it's like a blitzkrieg, in that time frame of people who've gotten engaged to talk about Lake George as the venue. And we do it in a variety of ways, but the guide is really key because it's all visual weddings. We want them to picture themselves here. And we've got beautiful photography everywhere of why a bride would want to be seen here in anywhere in the county for their wedding. Group tour market, we connected with a bus tour operator out of Screen Lake that has, we'll be bringing 3 groups, student groups throughout this winter to Winter Dream, but also throughout the county. Referrals, we provided for 3 groups, 30 partner referrals. So for instance, it might have been a wedding group, it might have been a corporate group or an association group. And one group might have needed 30 or 10 referrals. You know what I mean? Because they might have needed an offsite venue, they might have needed a variety of referral support services for their meeting and or event. And lastly, girls volleyball, that event really got not only great overnight rooms, believe it or not, but also really good coverage pickup in the news. So the teams that were here competing garnered a lot of great publicity, as you'll see, 110,000 on that app. Basically, that was the advertising value equivalency of ABE. Sales activities during this time. We hosted 8 meetings and 3 weddings during the quarter, and those were the ones that we worked on. That doesn't mean there weren't other meetings and or wedding events throughout the county. Believe me, the fall season, October is still big wedding month, October, November, December. We booked 12 meetings and conventions, as you saw on that first page of KPIs, and then secured it's kind of a big deal because we were up against several other areas to host, to bring the MAC here, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, to bring their ADs and all of their athletic folks. And that is basically Catholic colleges throughout the Northeast that will come here for that meeting coming up in Sagamore in May of this coming year. We hosted 2 sporting events, or we worked on 2 sporting events during the quarter. And then we've been working throughout, and I talked about it all last year, working with the Adiron Youth Hockey Association on they have 4 major events that come up in this first quarter, hockey events, and getting that out from under a third party who would take monies away from hotels, which actually puts money back into the hockey association. Just keeping money here locally and not a third party person that's not even based here. And then lastly, the group tour market, not only connecting those with Winter's Dream. One piece that's not on here is we have a relatively new person in this position, and they spent the bulk of all of December pretty much prepping for the American Bus Association, a major event we were just at 2 weekends ago, and for 4 days. And we were there with our partners, the Steamboat Company, the Queensbury Hotel, and Lake George Waterfront Cruises. Not only for appointments, we had 50 appointments. Steve McGee on our team had 50 appointments over 2 days, but also we had hosted a dine around with our statewide partners, as well as a booth, and then a breakfast for over 100 tour operators. That was a collaborative of our partners and our statewide folks. and you'll see here under trade show attendance, you can see the numbers of the contacts that we made for the 3 trade shows that we did attend in this fourth quarter on page 6. And then moving on, throughout page 7, a variety of convention services. So convention services, basically, we have sales selling the dream, and then convention services is a nightmare. Basically like any restaurateur or any hotelier, we book it and then somebody's got to cook it. So in this regard, everything from events that were serviced for microsites or welcome bags or welcome signage or all of those things come out of convention services, as you can see here. And as well as those referrals. So that's noted here. And this is just for the business that was serviced within whatever we worked on within that quarter. But then later you'll see the number of referrals as a whole year-to-date number. We have a really good, robust, simple view, which the county is moving toward. We're able to track everything that we do with regard to our activities. And that was on page 7. Page 8 is working with our community partners, Winter Stream. I mean, it's been all hands on deck for everybody in the county. It doesn't matter whether you're in the CBB, the chambers, the Warren County Tourism, SAIL, all of our partners. So everybody's in it to win it for all of our winter events, whether it was, events happening in Glens Falls right up through March, as we're looking at the whole winter season. We do meet monthly with our destination partners and who helped us look at, what did we do this year, what worked, and where are we going for next year, and which played out in our sales and marketing plan submitted to Warren County for this year's contract. Keeping tabs on Gore Mountain, there's a lot of updates coming out of there and a lot of events happening that we're able to promote to the sports market, whether it's not just winter, but year round. But really the changes that are happening with regard to the ski bowl and the lodge and everything there, we're already telling that story. And just a hand holding with the new executive or director of ORDA, there's a nice spotlight on Gore and not necessarily as the ugly stepchild of everything happening in Lake Placid. So we're really pleased about that and want to stay on top of that because there's a lot of opportunity there, I think, for us for year round other opportunities coming out of Gore Mountain. And then lastly, not only I put it here, for the DRI steering committee, but we have a lot of research and that feeds into it's a tool that we use, Artico. And we've been able to work with the planners and the consultants, not only on the DRI steering committee, but also now working with different pieces of the Warren County Comprehensive Plan and the Town of Queensbury Comprehensive Plan update, where the consultants have really been interested in seeing the movement of visitors and visitor to resident ratio and how that impacts, whether it's from environmental to tourism to employment and those kinds of factors. And it took one consultant to look at it and say, this is how you can help the other consultants use this. So it was interesting last night at the Warren County Comprehensive Plan charrette or open house, being one of the planning companies there was really interested, especially in that visitor to resident ratio and how that movement happens and affects what they're working on for a piece of that comprehensive plan. So we've been able to take some of the research tools that we're using from a hospitality impact and use them in other ways to serve the county in a really great way. And then pages 9 through 13 is all about marketing and advertising, social media and press. And you can see everything from, we talked about, everybody's talked about their blogs and the reach and that. I won't go into it ad nauseum, but it really is effective for how we're reaching people in a different way. Ours is reaching people under, another layer from an event standpoint, really from a group, bring your group here differently than bring yourself here as a leisure traveler. So that's all noted here. As you can see, each of the advertising that is done is on brand with regard to the Lake George area and very visual because we are such a visual destination. And all of that is noted here. And then your last pages, and I think we've gotten this over the years, and oh, Michael is here. To the point where you can actually read everyone. I'll make sure you know. He's been a big proponent to make sure that, so not only are the Q3 bookings here, but it also, as you look across, you know, it's the lead name, the account name, the meeting dates, the actual where it landed, you know, when it was booked, what type of EEI it was, because different types of events get calculated differently because of their spend. A wedding spend is very different than an association meeting or a bus tour. You know, there's different people spend differently depending on why they're here. But this also notes the number of attendees, the number of rooms, and then the EEI value for each individual event. And this goes back to every booking year to date from January 1 to December 31st, every event that was serviced, and what those room nights were for those, what they were. The Q4 leads, and then leads the whole year, every lead that went out. And every, and again, all of them had, whether it was a new event or a repeat event. And then lastly, the lost business, which, you know, it's a loss. And we know some of them won't ever come here, and then others, you know, because sometimes they have to fish, you know, or those that will get into that rotation for us and, or, you know, as they rotate around the Northeast. And then lastly, pending business. You know, we always have to have, you know, business in the funnel. And again, you know, all of those pieces of business are outlined. So I think on the last one. On your
Any
agenda.
questions for
Any
Jean?
questions?
Great effort on that.
All right.
Right.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
opportunity to serve everyone in our community and to work with each and every one of you. It's been a great year. We've all had our challenges, but it's been a good year. Thanks.
All right, we have no referrals. Now we will open to privilege of the floor. Anybody want to make any comment on anything happened in the last 2 hours? All right,
I just
What?
want to say something I meant to say when Sarah was up, that, we've definitely seen that people are coming to the winery because of Winter's Dream in particular. And I'm kind of a little scared what it would have been if it wasn't in town. So, definitely have noticed from the.
I'll agree with it. It's a great event that's happening. And we're getting great publicity, and down the road, it'll pay off for all of us that are in business and trying to keep this county going and alive. And with that said, thank you all for coming, and need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Strader, Mr. Stroud, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.